Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. As always, it's me, your host Yusuf. Now, without further ado, let's just get right to it. Kevin Durant recently joined LeBron James on his Mind the Game podcast, or Game the Mind podcast, as I like to call it, where they basically sat down and were rewriting history and making excuses for their failures and losses throughout their careers, and they discussed a little bit of basketball. But if there is any player that has followed and copied the LeBron blueprint, it is Kevin Durant, making weak moves, quitting on teams, and forming super teams to try and have the path of least resistance when it comes to winning championships. Now, I really believe that these two guys are cut from the same cloth, and they are two of the worst things to ever happen to the NBA. But they recently went on this Game of the Mind podcast where they were on there discussing some basketball, some excuse making, and a lot of glazing was going on from the both of them. And of course, you just have Steve Nash sitting there smiling like a spineless prop. So it was the typical stuff that you would expect when these two guys come together. But there was a part in it where Kevin Durant was really trying to do tricks on it for LeBron, where he took some passive aggressive, not so veiled shots at Michael Jordan. I'm going to play for you guys a clip of what Kevin Durant had to say, and then I'll share with you guys my thoughts on it.
Sign that contract with yourself every so often. Like, all right, yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in. I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's a contract I feel like you got to have with yourself, too, in order for you to be a, great ball player or to have a long career. That's the goal. To be.
So you guys heard what was said. Kevin Durant made an unnecessary comment and took an unnecessary jab at Michael Jordan. And then you hear LeBron James laughing like the clown that he is. It's so interesting to me how much Michael Jordan lives rent-free in these guys' minds. Michael Jordan only retired because his father passed away, and it was his father's dream for him to play baseball, so he did it to honor his father. Now here's the thing. You hear idiots say from time to time that Michael Jordan quit basketball to go play baseball, but that literally makes no sense. You cannot quit when you've been winning. Now, if Michael Jordan had been losing playoff series after playoff series and then decided, you know what, I'm done playing basketball, I'm just going to go pursue baseball, that's another thing. But he was winning. He had just come off of winning 3 straight championships. Then the news came out that his father had passed away, and he was obviously reeling over the passing of his father. But what I found laughable was to hear these two clowns, LeBron and KD, talking about staying committed to the grind and being committed to the game. These two guys, if you're honest about their legacy, are notoriously known for being quitters. LeBron quit on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2010 playoffs, and then he ran to Miami where he choked in the 2011 NBA Finals. And then after he got smoked by the San Antonio Spurs in 2014, he ran back to Cleveland to try and stack the deck to win easy championships. However, the Golden State Warriors annihilated his plans almost every time that they went to the finals, with the exception of 2016. And then after he could no longer win championships, he decided to run to Los Angeles once again. Now, objectively speaking, his time in LA has been a complete abysmal failure, and now he is trying to quit and run out of Los Angeles after all of the damage that he caused. This is a 40-year-old who is still quitting just like he was quitting when he was in his mid-20s. So no, LeBron James has never shown to be committed to any grind or have any commitment. Just because he played 22 years, it means nothing. You played 22 years and couldn't even accomplish what the guy you're hating on accomplished. That's like a guy who takes 6 years to graduate from a 2-year community college wanting credit. No, bro, it doesn't work that way. And Kevin Durant is another one. He came up short in the 2012 NBA Finals against the guy that he was sitting there glazing. In 2013, he came up short against the Memphis Grizzlies, losing that series in 5 games. And then in 2016, when he was up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors, he completely choked in that series and ended up losing in 7 games. And then when he was a free agent, he ran and joined the team that had just eliminated him a few weeks prior. So he tried to piggyback off of the success of the Golden State Warriors, and he ended up winning 2 championships. But no one respects those championships, and no one believes that Kevin Durant earned championships in his career. Then, when Draymond Green rightfully called him what he was, which is the B word, Kevin Durant literally makes his point and shows that he is in fact the B word by deserting the Golden State Warriors and joining the Brooklyn Nets. And of course he didn't go to the Brooklyn Nets on his own. He followed Kyrie Irving to Brooklyn. Now it's interesting because apparently Kevin Durant wanted to go to the New York Knicks, but Kyrie Irving wanted to go to the Brooklyn Nets. So Kevin Durant, being the follower that he is, scrapped his plans to join the Knicks to go follow Kyrie Irving to the Nets. And then when things didn't work out in Brooklyn, he of course ran to Phoenix. And of course, we know that Phoenix had just came off of a finals appearance in 2021. So look, Kevin Durant wants to already go and join a championship situation. And when things didn't work out the first year, what did they do? They tried to stack the deck once again. He had Devin Booker there. Now he wanted to also add Bradley Beal to hopefully build a super team and try to get back to winning a championship. But they didn't even make the play-in, let alone the playoffs. It was a complete failure. Now he's running to the Houston Rockets, who were just the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. So this is what Kevin Durant does. He is a bus rider. He is not willing to build anything. He just wants to hop onto teams that are already having success and try to piggyback his way into winning. But he is not a winning player, and it's not going to work in Houston, just like it didn't work in all of the other stops, with the exception of the Golden State Warriors. So when this guy talks about being committed to the grind and staying true to the grind, you were never committed to any grind. You literally leave when things get rough and try to join teams that already have winning situations and hope that you can piggyback. So I find it laughable that he wants to talk about being true to the grind and being committed to the grind. This is a guy who likes to take the path of least resistance when it comes to winning. That's why he likes to join already stacked teams rather than trying to build something organically. LeBron James and Kevin Durant are not committed to any grind. They are committed to taking shortcuts and taking the easiest path possible. And these two guys, look, I don't mean to be disrespectful or mean or anything, but I gotta call it how I see it. I see these two guys as idiots. And you could even throw Steve Nash in there as well, because he has proven to really just be a spineless prop that is being used by LeBron. But here's why I call these guys idiots. If you look at certain institutions, organizations, or industries, they usually use their history as a means to generating business as well as maintaining relevancy. For example, if you look at universities such as these Ivy League schools, they charge an arm and a leg for admission. The reason that they justify these exorbitant prices is not just because of the quality of education or the degree that someone will obtain, but a large portion of it is also their history. People look at the opportunity to go to these institutions because this is where former presidents, business leaders, and people of prominence attended. They lean into their history as one of the biggest selling points as to why people should attend their institutions. They leverage the fact that they have notable alumni, and they use this illustrious alumni as a means of marketing to let people know that if you come to this school and you get a degree from us, you could one day go out into the world and become great like the people of the past did. Also, their alumni from previous generations, they come to the school and they give talks, they guest lecture, they make sizable donations, they make speeches at graduations, right? And they're always giving back to the school. And as a result, they sometimes have buildings, libraries, hallways, lecture halls, or certain wings or gyms of the institution are named after them because they respect their history, and the people who graduated from there pour into the school. It's a whole system that they have in place, and a huge part of that system is acknowledging and respecting the illustrious history. And there are many companies that do this as well. They'll do advertisements where they talk about the company's history and how they were always dedicated and committed to making great quality products, and how that philosophy has carried them over throughout all of the years. So history is something that is very important when it comes to establishing credibility, and it is a good business practice for companies and organizations to lean into. But when you have these two idiots who are very insistent on tearing down the history of the NBA, and then they wonder why there is a lack of viewership and why fans are more disrespectful towards the game and why they complain so much, this is why. There is no respect. Once you start chipping away at the foundation of the history of the game, then that means everything is up for grabs. Everything can be brought into question. Nothing is deserving of respect anymore. You don't see Alexander Ovechkin taking shots and poking fun at Wayne Gretzky. You don't hear current MLB players taking shots of the players of the past, or trying to throw dirt on their name, or try to find little cracks in their armor. But you will hear idiots like LeBron and Kevin Durant taking shots at the generation that came before them. LeBron also in that same episode made fun of Will Chamberlain and suggested that he didn't even score 100 points in a game and that it was made up. Why would you want to make a comment like that that would make people question the validity of the game? Is that something that is good for business? Is that something that will help further advance the game and grow the game? But LeBron, being the idiot that he is, he doesn't think that far ahead. He only cares about his feelings and his ego. And Kevin Durant is the exact same way. That's why when Draymond Green, rightfully, I have to emphasize, called him a B word, that's why KD decided to cut and run instead of putting Draymond Green in his place, defending himself, and establishing himself as a man and letting him know that kind of disrespect will not be tolerated, and making him apologize right then and there. Adam Silver should sit both of these guys down and say, listen, you are not to speak of the game's history in a negative manner. Once you start attacking the game's history, it takes away from the overall prestige of the game itself. You would never hear Barack Obama say, people shouldn't go to Harvard. Harvard isn't a good institution, or it's overrated as an institution, or I was the best thing to ever happen to Harvard and Harvard did nothing for me in my career. You would never hear him talk like that. But these two idiots just can't seem to grasp that. Michael Jordan currently right now is in his 60s. He hasn't played in over 22 years. Why do you guys feel the need to talk about him? And it's funny because these guys claim that they are fans of his. So you would think that they would know the reason why he left to go play baseball. And they do know the reason why he went to go play baseball. But they're still going to act ignorant and use it to take shots at him. These guys are low. But you have clowns like Kevin Durant and LeBron James that hate on those that came before them. And they want to block the shine of those that are coming up. so they can keep all of the attention on themselves. That is the antithesis of what Michael Jordan did. He was probably the most, or the second most. Him and Michael Jackson, they were up there, 1 and 2, however you want to look at it. But the most recognizable figure in the world. When he had his time under the sun, he did what he had to do. He did it at the highest level. And when it was time to retire and let the next generation carry the torch, he did it graciously. He wasn't trying to hold on to the attention. And the only reason why he came back to the Washington Wizards is because of a business deal that had gone wrong, which he was promised an ownership stake in the Wizards if he was to become a player. But when he became a player, that deal was taken off of the table and he no longer had a shot at ownership. Other than that, he wasn't out there looking for attention. When it was time to walk away, he walked away and let the younger generation do their thing. But guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron James, they're not like that. These guys are attention 304s. If you take the combined career or the combined resume of LeBron James and Kevin Durant, they don't even match or exceed what Michael Jordan did in his 13-year playing career. It's not even really that close. He has more MVPs, more championships, more scoring titles, and more defensive teams than those two guys combined. So there's really no basis for what they're doing other than jealousy and hatred. Now, I would love to do an entire episode just roasting these two clowns, but I think I said everything that I needed to say. Michael Jordan is far above LeBron James and Kevin Durant. It's really not even close. This is a fake, fabricated conversation. But whenever someone is underneath you, they'll always try to throw stones at those above them, which is exactly what LeBron and Kevin Durant are doing now. But this is why they have such a huge fixation on Jordan. Meanwhile, Jordan couldn't care less about any of these guys. But I just had to come on here and get this off because this is clown behavior that is being exhibited by two clowns. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your people. You guys can also follow me and the podcast on social media. You guys can check out my books. All of these links will be in the description. Until next time.